Oh, what a beautiful day. This is nice. The internet has lots of sites and channels dedicated to two types of movies. The really good, or the really bad. Either the classics, the cream of the crop, or the long-forgotten, terrible, straight-to-VHS garbage that are so bad they're good. But what about the decent, the solid movies, the ones that people like but never really became classics? These are the overlooked. This is a group of movies I just like. Some of them are really good movies that just aren't well remembered, and some of them are just for me.
They said that you weren't fit to sleep with pigs, but I stood up for you. What'd you say? I said you were. All right.
These are movies you may not have thought about in decades, or it may be a secret favorite, or you'll take the time to write a 20-point screed in the comments telling me why I'm so wrong. If so, get some therapy. Up on the docket today is Firefox. No, not that. You kids don't know nothing about movies or browsers. Everyone knows the best one right now is Chrome. All hail our Google overlords. Firefox was produced and directed by Clint Eastwood in 1982. This Cold War era story of the US stealing a futuristic jet from the Soviets was made on a budget of about $21 million, and $20 million of it was special effects. While those effects are certainly dated today, there is a certain charm about them. John Dykstra was really able to give you a sense of speed, and that was difficult at the time. Clint Eastwood, who also directed and produced the movie, plays Mitchell Gant, a former Vietnam vet who got shot down and captured over North Vietnam. As he was being transported in a bamboo cage, he sees a little girl who smiles at him. Moments later, as he's being rescued, the Americans napalm the area. He watches the girl get roasted before his eyes. So, he has issues. He's probably the best pilot ever and speaks Russian thanks to his Russian mother. The first part of the story details Gant's infiltration into Moscow with the help from dissidents to get him to where the plane is located. This part of the film is taut and it takes its time. At first, he enters the country impersonating an American businessman. When he meets the dissidents along with the real businessman to make the switch, the real guy is immediately killed by the dissidents and dumped into the river with Gant's papers. Gant is understandably unnerved and his PTSD isn't helping matters. Constantly dodging the KGB, he's tracked by a Soviet colonel played by Admiral Piet. He switches identities a few times and finally gets to where the plane is being stored and upgraded. The various scientists that built it are Jewish, and they know the Soviets are only mildly nicer to Jews than the Nazis. Rather than go to whatever hellhole they know they're going to send them, they decide to help the Americans by getting Gant to the plane, even though they know it will mean their lives. Once Gant gets to the plane, the second half is a fun ride through the wintry Ural Mountains. A different kind of cat-and-mouse game ensues as Gant attempts to fool the Russians that he's going south and then heads north to meet up with a submarine to get refueled in an ice floe. It finally culminates into a dogfight with another Firefox. This movie is steeped in Cold War intrigue and doesn't pull any punches on the loss of life. People get murdered, executed, or just commit suicide, all to defeat the evil commies. Remember when Hollywood knew communism was evil? Now they pay the bail of those commies that burn down cities. Anyhow, the special effects were done by Star Wars legend John Dykstra. After working on The Empire Strikes Back and seeing the issues with trying to make spaceships look okay against a light background, he came up with a new method called reverse blue screen. As I understand it, he coats the model with a special paint and then filmed it under a black light, causing it to glow and make the perfect matte. There would be a blue matte against a black background rather than the other way around. This allowed him to film the model against the blue skies and white clouds, not to mention the snowy mountains, without having to make the jet transparent. The results were really great for the time. The movie isn't perfect. Clint's character has very little character arc. The PTSD is never really addressed other than something that flares up occasionally like sciatica. For the first half of the movie, he doesn't have much agency other than accepting the mission. He gets whisked from place to place, hiding from the KGB and basically letting the dissidents do all the work for him. It isn't until he gets in the cockpit that he can really move the story as the protagonist. He does make a mistake when he knocks the pilot out to take his place. He decides not to kill this pilot, and that proves a problem when the pilot comes after him in a second Firefox. There's a nice little dogfight, but of course Clint wins, blows him out of the sky, and takes the plane to freedom. I like that the dissidents lost their lives trying to make this happen. The stakes are clear, the story is straightforward. This isn't Clint's best, but you can do a lot worse. So if you want to watch something different, you might give it a try. It's a solid movie. It just needed a couple more story and character beats to make it something special. Well, that's all for this week's Overlooked. Tune in next week when, well, I can say it's strong to the finish.